Okay, good morning and welcome to our, I don't know how many, 5th annual, I guess, Concord Township and League of Women Voter Candidates Forum. We're very glad to have all of you here to learn a little bit more about the candidates in your district, and we're glad that those of you at home are watching for the same reason. Our next office from whom we are going to hear is for Lake County Commissioner. Our first speaker by order of draw is Mr. Dan Troy.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and appreciate the opportunity to speak to the citizens of Concord. I've been honored to represent the citizens of this fine community in either the state legislature or as your county commissioner for quite some time. And as a 58-year resident of Lake County, I've certainly seen the demographics change in this county and certainly have seen the demographics of Concord Township change over that period of time. From a fairly rural township to now where you have the second highest tax valuation of any of our political subdivisions in Lake County, only second to the city of Menor. And it's been difficult dealing with all of those changes, and that I think is one of the strengths that I bring as your commissioner. As the plain dealer indicated in their endorsement of me Sunday morning, I know government, I understand government, and they indicated that I'm a tremendous asset to Lake County. I think that institutional knowledge is extremely helpful. Over the years, I've dealt with many entities and many officials here in Concord Township, going all the way back to people like Joe Franco and Mary Diabate and Charlie Call, Leo Scully, and enjoy working today with Connie and Paul and Chris and try and do what's best in terms of providing the services of civilization your county is responsible for to the citizens of this particular county. And this particular township houses some very interesting institutions. I know the Auburn Career Center. When I was a member of the legislature, I was proud to establish the elementary school 3rd, 4th, and 5th grader math and science center over at Auburn Career Center. It has relocated, still within the township, over to the Environmental Learning Center off of Alexander Road. I've worked to establish the LEAF program, which tries to get more of our students involved in opportunities for higher education, cut through the grants, the scholarships, all the assistance that may be available. That, of course, is housed at Auburn Career Center right now, too. It's been a pleasure to serve you as your county commissioner. Anyone knows me that know I enjoy government. I love to make government work in the best interests of its citizens. I have been endorsed by the West Lake County Fraternal Order of Police for re-election. I've been endorsed by the Lake Geauga Association of Realtors for re-election. And Sunday and the Plain Dealer, as I mentioned earlier, they indicated that I remain a tremendous asset for the county. I'm deeply knowledgeable about the county and favor a pragmatic, middle-of-the-road approach to challenges that range from attracting more jobs to dealing with abandoned property. It says in conclusion that he knows the county, he understands the county, there is no need to start anew. I've been honored to serve you. I want to continue to serve you and continue to make this county the strongest county in the state of Ohio. Even though we are geographically the smallest, we have a great reputation around this state, and I thank you for that opportunity.
Our second candidate for the office of Lake County Commissioner is Kimberly Laurie.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for allowing us to come and speak with you today. There is no doubt that my opponent has a lot of experience. In fact, he has been a public official for my entire 33-year lifespan, and there's a lot of experience that comes with that. And I've heard him many times say that there's no substitute for experience. But I would contend that there is a substitute for his definition of experience, and that would be effective leadership. Just because you're doing something for a long time doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it effectively. Now, I'll give some examples in a little bit, but I'll first tell you a little bit about myself. I have over 10 years of experience in business administration. I also have over 4 years experience as a realtor. And the reason that these things are important is because the county commissioner is the elected administrator for the county. They appropriate the funds to the various county departments to make sure that they're running effectively. They're also in charge of any property acquisitions or sales for the county, which is why my realtor's experience is helpful. And though this is my first run for an elected position, I have been involved in politics for a long time as a citizen. I am the president of the 912 Project here in Lake County. It's in Menor. And basically what the 912 Project is we focus on education for our members and the general public. You don't have to be a member of our organization to come to our meetings. We hold meetings once per month, and we like to just keep everybody educated on both local and state and national issues. And we believe that the strongest defense that we have in defending the freedoms of our country are informed citizens. So I'm happy to see so many people here today, as well as want to thank the people at home who've taken the time to get to know their candidates tonight. Now, the reason the 912 Project is called 912 is because if you remember way back on 9/11, on that day we knew we were attacked. We didn't know why or by whom, and we were all scared and we didn't know what was going on. By the very next day on 9/12, our attackers had been identified. We also found out the reason that we were being attacked was because of who we are. We are Americans, and not everybody in the world believes in the same principles and values that we do as Americans. So what happened was on 9/12, we all came together as Americans. At that point, it didn't matter if you were Democrats, Republicans, black, white, blue, green, purple. We all united as Americans on those fundamental principles. That unity lasted about 4 or 5 months, and then we went back to that split, Democrats versus Republicans, party bickering. And so what we try to do is just remind everybody of those basic values and principles that we do share as Americans. Then that way we have that foundation upon which we can address our differences in a respectful way. So thank you very much.
Mr. Troy, you have 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also a U.S. Army veteran. I understand the importance of defending our country. You know, I know that we had one of these last night, and my opponent got to go second, so I guess I'll do a little bit defense in advance before some of the issues come up. I believe I want to quote again from the Plain Dealer endorsement interview, which unbelievably my opponent refused to show up for. She vows to cut wasteful spending and improve the county's economy, although she doesn't say how she'd accomplish those things. Her views can be extreme, and her vow to protect Lake County, Ohio from redistribution efforts by NOACA, efforts that have no basis in fact, is ridiculous. Lake County residents shouldn't choose a candidate who seems more interested in finding conspiracies than the hard work of governance. Troy is interested in the latter and speaks passionately about the need to share county services, to boost the county's economy, redevelop our older communities, and add more sheriff's deputies to address the burglaries and petty crimes committed by drug addicts. I know she's going to bring up the fact that we slashed our stormwater funding in half. That is the most misleading, distorted statement among many that are, as the Plain Dealer says, are totally unsubstantiated. We started a stormwater management program to deal with stormwater issues in this county. As you all know, we get a lot of these heavy rainstorms lately, and we need to deal with the stormwater infrastructure. We created that agency. We set a level of assessments for that agency in order to fund educational programs and do projects to improve the stormwater drain. We have spent more money in 2013 and in 2014 than any of the years previous to the inception of that program. What we did do was, because we had a large balance and we could not process the programs enough to do those projects, we cut the assessments that we charge you, the residents of Lake County and Concord Township, by 50%, because I don't think it makes sense for us to stockpile money we don't need. Let's keep it in your pocket. I find it appalling that someone who's affiliated with the Tea Party is criticizing me for letting you keep some of your money.
Ms. Laurie, you have 2 minutes rebuttal.
Boy, where do I start? Okay, first of all, with the stormwater management, very briefly, I believe in preventing floods as opposed to chasing floods. The reason so much money has been spent is because we've had flooding issues and they have been trying to solve the crises as they happen. I'd like to prevent the crises. As far as NOACA's redistribution efforts, I think it's very false of the Plain Dealer to try to say that that's not true. In their strategic planning documents, they talk about cost sharing, which means that we do have to share our tax dollars with other parts of the state, including Cleveland. And in their 2014 annual summit meeting, they actually started talking about a regional sales tax. So if you guys like that idea, then there you go. Now, I would like to talk about some wasteful spending from our government. One of the things that we can do to improve our situation here is not to waste your taxpayer dollars. Now, for example, a couple weeks ago, the News Herald had an article about an office building. This is just one example of wasteful spending on county property. There's an office building in Painesville, which in 2001, the commissioners purchased for $450,000. Now, my opponent was quoted in that same article saying something along the lines of that they would not be able to reutilize that property because of the amount of asbestos in it. Well, if there's asbestos riddled throughout this building, and so you cannot fix it up and use it for anything, why spend $450,000 to purchase the property in the first place? Now they'd like to tear it down. It's going to cost $96,000 to tear down the property, but they first have to spend $132,000 to rid it of asbestos in the first place. So what we have now amounts to a $687,000 vacant plot of land in Painesville. This is the type of ineffective leadership that I was talking about earlier, where we need to make smarter decisions with our tax dollars. So if you agree with that, I'd like you to please consider voting for Kim Laurie for Lake County Commissioner. Thank you.
Are there any questions for any of these fine candidates? Yes, sir.
In regards to the commissioners' candidates, there's been talk about the reduction of the stormwater fees, and there's been a detriment because we did that. Maybe the candidates can explain, how those projects get allocated to the communities, and specifically what areas have been harmed by the reduction of the fees.
Good. Okay, Mr. Troy, 2 minutes.
Well, since this issue seems to have arisen, I did ask our Stormwater Management Agency Director at the last commissioners meeting he was at that, have any of our projects been held back because of lack of funding? He says absolutely not. But he indicated, he said that we are spending down the balance, and we have an advisory board to the Stormwater Management Agencies made up of representatives of villages, townships, and cities that sit on that particular advisory board, and they are now looking at what they need to recommend for 2015 and beyond. What these projects are, they're done in conjunction with the communities. No community is part of the Stormwater Management Agency unless their legislative authority, whether it's your Board of Trustees and townships or your City Council, enters into a memorandum of understanding with our regional Stormwater Management Agency. We're proud of the fact that we now have 17 of our 23 communities, the cities of Eastlake and the city of Willoughby, have just joined to be part of that. They will bring to the Stormwater Management Agency, through their service department, through their city engineers, concerns regarding projects that where stormwater is having a detrimental impact on their community, and then they can proceed with having the Stormwater Agency work with them in either securing funding from the program, matching that up with additional grants, which they've been very successful doing, and getting those projects done for the particular community. So the projects are chosen by the member communities. They have entered into the program with a memorandum of understanding. And again, we have spent more money on these projects in 2013 and 2014. Unfortunately, these 100-year storms come about 3 times every 6 years now, and we have to deal with the reality that something's changed out there in terms of the amount of rain we get in fell swoops. And so, but again, we're serious about this. This is a methodology by which we want to protect the community from damage, and we will move forward collectively with the communities and generate whatever dollars we need to address the problem.
Thank you. Ms. Laurie?
Thank you. Okay, I just want to read a letter to you. This was a letter to the Board of Commissioners written in 2012. This is from the Lake County Stormwater Advisory Board. This is, Dear Honorable Commissioners, upon conclusion of the Lake County Stormwater Agency's Advisory Board meeting held January 19th, 2012, and on behalf of the Advisory Board, it is my task to share the Board's position that you reconsider your proposal to reduce the program's participation fee by 50%. The board believes this reduction in revenue will adversely impact the high level of success and the level of achievements that have been accomplished by this innovative program over the past 7 years. I'd also like to address something that my opponent had indicated during I think it was his rebuttal period that I just didn't have time to get to. And this is the fee that's charged to the homeowners and citizens of the county. When he says that they reduced the fee by 50%, that is true, but I want to put that in terms of dollars for you. What we're talking about is a reduction from $30 per year to $15 per year. And what is happening is we have an infrastructure in our county which is about 80 years old now. And the reason we're having flooding problems like this is because that old infrastructure can't handle the developments that has happened over the years. And so that's why these 100-year storms that we seem to be having every other year recently affect us so much here. And so again, what I would like to do is, instead of chasing the floods when they happen and participating in crisis management, I would like to participate in crisis prevention. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I have time for one more question. Yes, sir.
It's addressed to the county commissioner candidate. Has any congressional candidate other than the Libertarian candidate pledged to help the citizens of Lake County fight NOACA by ending all federal funding for NOACA and the other Agenda 21 programs which are designed to enslave the people of the United States and submerge it into a one-world totalitarian government?
Okay, Ms. Laurie, would you like to go first this time?
Thank you again. I'm going to start by just kind of describing NOACA and explaining what it is, because it has come up a couple times today, but most people probably don't really know what this is. It's a regional planning organization that was created in the 70s by Congress at that time. What they call it is a metropolitan planning organization. And the idea back then was, you know, our roads don't end at the county line, they continue on. And so the federal government thought that it would make sense to have a regional organization to do the planning for those roads, since they cover more than one county. NOACA is funded using our federal gas tax dollars. So when you go to the pump and you're paying all these taxes, the federal gas tax that you're paying goes to the federal government, and then it gets redistributed back to these metropolitan planning organizations, which then provide funding for some road maintenance, bridges, etc. Now, the problem with organizations such as NOACA is that over the years they have been granted more and more authority by the subsequent Congresses, and they've become more bloated organizations, almost like a regional governance, which we don't have regional governments according to our constitutions, but they have managed to do this through legislation at the federal level. There's a bill that they will be coming up with here soon. Metropolitan planning organizations are funded and given authority through the transportation bills. So you might hear Congress start talking about transportation bills. It is something that they vote on every couple years. They're coming out with the new one soon. And I have expressed some concern to our current Congressman, Dave Joyce, about some of the things that I'm hearing that they would like to add to the bills. Again, it's giving these organizations more and more authority. He said that he would, if I gave him a list, he would address that with the committee that is designing this bill. And yes, I am aware that David Matko is also intending to help me out here with limiting the authority that these MPOs have. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on, sir. Mr. Troy, 2 minutes.
You know, we do have constitutions in the state of Ohio. We have constitution in the United States. These are documents, the rules, the set of rules by which we make the rules. And those set of rules by which we make the rules do not allow metropolitan planning organizations to take away any of your local zoning powers or redistribute your tax dollars. The last time I looked, the Ohio Revised Code still leaves all local zoning powers up to your local communities. Again, I will quote from the plain dealer. Laurie's views can be extreme, and her vow to protect Lake County from redistribution efforts by the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency, efforts that have no basis in fact, is ridiculous. Again, the conspiracy theories that are out there are amazing, and I like the partnership between the Libertarian Party here and the Lake County Liberty Coalition, formerly known as the Tea Party. What is NOACA? NOACA is a metropolitan planning organization. It was created for metropolitan regions by the federal government. We are part of the 5-county metropolitan region for Northeast Ohio and with Cleveland. And the purpose of it was to make sure that when federal funds are passed through for infrastructure improvements, roads and bridges, water quality planning, this is wastewater treatment and other things, that they are looked at in a regional approach. A lot of these things don't involve projects that are right within or don't have an impact just within those lines that are drawn on a map. One of the problems we're having with Lake Erie right now is we're backsliding a little bit on the water quality of Lake Erie, is that we need a more regional planning approach along the watershed type of jurisdiction, the Chagrin River watershed, the Grand River watershed, the Maumee River watershed, and you're going to have to think regionally to prevent some of the things that are starting to set our lake back in the direction that it was maybe about 50 years ago. NOACA has been good to Lake County. People are envious of Lake County because we got $220 million to redo Route 2 as a result of NOACA and the efforts of your local representatives, NOACA. So we have not been a donor county. We have been a very good recipient county of those federal dollars.